guys in 3, 2. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday.
All right.
Hey, welcome to Fight Club. We are lost without Tay. Tay's missing today, but we are going to all step in and say welcome to Fight Club. We are a group of self-employed industry experts that are in the home service industry here to help serve your business. So I'm going to start out and introduce myself. Usually it would be Tay, and she talks about marketing, but I'm Michelle, co-owner of Pink Collars, and am super excited to have Darius here. I live in the Northern Virginia area, so I have a lot of intel on his company, and I am thrilled to have you today, Darius. We're going to talk all things systems. And so while I've got you, can you introduce yourself and tell the listeners who you are and where you're coming from?
Sure. My name is Darius Lyvers. Grew up overseas, but ever since gone to the heating and air conditioning field and the home services field, grew up in Northern Virginia. Been at the company here, Furr, for 21 years. Grew up and started as a corporate advisor in sales for about 10 years, then went into sales management, and then more recently in the last 6 years running operations for the company. So really got a journey to hopefully enlighten some of you, some viewers out there, and give you a little bit of insight as to my roadmap, and maybe that can help propel some of you from where I came into the company to where we are today. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
We're so excited to have you. I got to meet Darius in Phoenix a couple months ago. And I mean, I don't think I've laughed so hard in a really long time. My side was like in stitches. And then I maybe sort of stalked you at the coffee bar the next day. But I am so happy to have you on the show. My name is Megan Likes. I'm the founder of Bookkeeping Academy Online. I educate and empower small business owners to know their numbers so that they can live more financially rewarding lives. And basically what it means is I make accounting fun and easy, whether you want to do it yourself or you want to outsource it to me and my team. I also own Likes Accounting Company, a full service accounting company. And I co-own Jeff Likes Clean Windows and Gutters in Northern California with my husband, Jeff. And I'm happy to be back on Fight Club. I'm sad to be missing Tay. I think you all were having a party in Florida just last week with Tay, weren't you?
We were.
Right.
We were.
Yeah, Tay is she's at Disney World today. So I'm
Very
sure
rough life.
Yeah, she's having a rough time. My name's Martha Woodward, and I am a former absentee owner of a maid service. I had that for many, many years. And I am co-founder of Quality Driven Software. And my mission is helping people build happier workplaces. So welcome to Fight Club, and welcome, Darius.
Thank you.
Okay, so Tay usually starts us out, but I'm going to play Tay today. And she talks about marketing. And if you live in the Northern Virginia region, you are pummeled, I would dare say, by this marketing piece, likely one of my favorite pieces ever. The back of the truck with the guy that looks as if he is in the truck waving at you. Tell us about this as a marketing tool and how FH Furr came up with this awesomeness, because we see these trucks everywhere. So give us some insight onto how this happened, please.
So this is something that back in the late 90s, the founder and president, Floyd Furr, still the primary owner of the company. Him and his wife owned the company. And he came up with that idea after seeing something, actually something he saw in Europe on an advertisement, inspired him to put himself out there for a couple of reasons. One, if I'm out there, there's a level of trust that I'm actually using my picture and putting it out there to let people know that if they go with me, that we represent integrity, and our tagline was being absolutely the best. So he wanted that to be out there, and then he wanted to be catchy, right? That people look and say, oh my goodness, and at night it kind of reflects. So, you may think someone's falling out the back of that truck.
Yes, exactly.
2 or 3 times. And that kind of gives it a little bit of a spin-off. But all of our trucks now, we've gone to for the majority of our newer trucks, to a animated version. Just comes with the times. But yes, it's nice and it's unique. But yes, it's something that certainly, Call the Guy in the Back of the Truck, has stayed with our company. We still use the same slogan. We still use the same promotions. And it has been, if there's nothing else that just like you had mentioned, it's the guy on the back of the truck. Are you the company with that guy on the back of the truck? Yeah. We'll hear it more than anything else. So yeah, it's been a great branding play, and certainly has stood the test of time for the company.
Well, what I love about it is that it's different for every style of truck, right? So if it's a box truck, it looks like a box truck, the image behind him. If it's a transit van, it's a transit van behind him. So it's photographed very strategically for the exact piece of the exact car that is going down the road, or vehicle that's going down the road. I'm waiting for him to come crawling out of like the trunk of some sort of a sales car next. Like I'm waiting for this, right? Because it's so fun and innovative. In addition to that, you guys have a jingle, and you do a lot of print ad. You do a lot of, I think, radio ads, because I have this jingle stamped in my brain, and you do a lot of television advertising. And it's really fun because all the jingle is super simple, people, not crazy. fhfur.com, right?
Yep,
it's just
that's
a
right.
music to the URL. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no.
It's just the closing. Yeah.
It's crazy, but honestly, it's like stamped in all of our brains. Tell me if you know the origin of that, or how that kind of came about, because I just love that too.
To be honest, I don't know the origin. I think it just came about through just interacting with someone in the office, because we had some kids that were here, and naturally we get a lot of people posting that now with fhfur.com with the jingle. We have people submitting that in because we do a lot of community marketing. So we're involved with the schools and middle schools and high schools in the region. So we get that, and a lot of times we'll use that in some of our promotion material, or just some of our YouTube videos and what have you. Just have some fun with it. But the origins, I don't know. I think it just came about, and then we decided just to put it in there at the tagline at the end of our advertisements.
But what a smart and innovative thing to do, right? Like give it to your customers so that they can give it back to you, right? As sort of an easy way to do marketing. How do you encourage people to do the fhfur.com slogan? Or is it just sort of like one of those viral local things? How do you do that?
So where it initially started was we started partnering up with a company just for our reputation management and really just our branding once again of our existing service agreement customers. We started sending customers candy or cookies or different gifts post a service call, and with that thank you card and what have you. But then when we do our follow-up calls, a lot of times we ask if our customers are willing to just submit a short 10-second video, and that we'll post it, and then we'll recognize them on a monthly posting. And then they'll send in their kids eating these cookies and saying, thank you, FH Furr, we have heat, or our plumbing's working, or whatever the case may be. So, and then we just utilize that. And when we post that, it kind of gets that going. But we also have a community, strategist that goes out to the events, the fairs, and to the schools, and hosts a booth, and just gets with the kids and just kind of keeps things saying, giving away some gifts there, for the kids, sunglasses and things of that nature. Just so we can help brand. We moved more towards branding over the last 6-7 years than direct campaigning, and we think it's worked for us in our market, right? It's just a very diverse market. It's a very in our space. There's a lot of companies, a lot of competition in our market. So instead of trying to compete for that same token that everyone's competing with, we just wanted to be different and just recognize our name. If you have a thought and you need something, we're here to serve you.
Yeah. Okay. You said 2 words. The person's title: community strategist. Community. What is it?
Community strategist. Her actual title, I have to look it up. That's what I call her, because that's what she does. She strategizes to get us involved with the communities and where to place us, where to get involved, and getting our other employees involved, which is the hardest part, right? Is any of these endeavors is getting your own people to go on a Saturday and do something, or to participate in a charity or a fundraiser, and these different things. So she's not just a strategist externally; she's an internal strategist to actually bring our employees an awareness around what we're doing, and then guilt them in a little bit to getting helping us, right? That's really the strategy. Yeah.
It sounds like she finds the who, not how, right? So she gets the people involved, because then the who is going to fix that for your company, like you said, whether internally or externally.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I am dying to hear more about the community strategist, because I think that's a goal that all home service businesses should have. How can you get your business to a size where you can afford somebody like that can just really be the cheerleader in your in your service area. So
Absolutely.
I'm obsessed with that one. That one's my takeaway. So I am going to pass you on to Megan to talk about money. She might be able to talk about how you can afford somebody like that. But thank you so much, Darius. You were super cool. I am super excited to talk to you more about systems when we go back around and I actually play myself. So see you in a minute.
Oh, I told you this was going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have still been thinking about the talk that you gave in November, and I think it was like a 30-minute talk. But I mean, first of all, I had to figure out what the talking stick was because of your talk. I did not, it's not a commercial for that, but I was like,
No.
that took me forever to figure out what was going on. We're not going to go there today, though.
Okay,
So
good.
the thing was, you shared some very quick off-the-cuff tricks to selling things easier. And we never talk about sales on Fight Club. And we know that that's like a flaw, but it's, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit harder for us. We have our roles and we all stay in our roles. And so when we have a sales guy on, I just get excited. Can you go through some of your favorite strategies when it comes to sales? And maybe keeping in mind that a lot of the people listening right now are in seasonal businesses. And so they're just getting ready to ramp up for spring season, right? They're just getting ready for like this big rush to come the next 6 to 8 weeks. And if they could take away like 3 cool strategies for when they're on the phone with customers or when they're in front of customers, I think that would be a huge win for today's show. So do you mind sharing some of your favorite do's and don'ts of being in a sales conversation with a customer?
Well, there's definitely a lot of do's and don'ts, more don'ts than do's, quite frankly. We talk ourselves out of sales and kill them more frequently than, we resurrect them. So what I would say if I was coming in, smaller business, and keep in mind when I started at FH Furr, we were only a $4 million company. I say only, not to say that if you're small that or larger, but that versus where we are now, that was a long time ago.
And
But
where are you now? Just so we have
so,
that reference.
in 2021, we did 92.
92 million. So from 4 to 92, it's a pretty wild ride, I bet.
It's a wild ride, and I've been here the whole ride, so I got to see what we did to reach those different milestones and to break through those different layers, that those basic canopies that every business has. Like if you're in one type of business, that 1 to 2 million mark might be the mark that most companies don't penetrate. If you're another type of business, that might be 5 million, 10 million, and quite frankly, within your business, you hit those thresholds again, those ceilings again and again, and if you don't make changes, you won't get through that threshold or you won't get through that ceiling. I've noticed that, and I've seen that in so many businesses. But regardless of where you are, we all know, you got to market the lead. Great, Michelle's going over that. You got to get the phone ringing, or you got to get the leads coming in. Then you got to have the processes and the people to make sure you book those leads and make sure that process is easy, to make it easy for your customer to do business with you. But then you got your people that go out, they've got to make the sale. Someone's got to make a sale somewhere for your business to exist. So whether you're doing outside sales, phone sales, and in the home services, the majority of the listeners will do one or both, whether it's over the phone sales or it's going to be in-person sales. And usually it is both in our world. So there's a few things that I will say propelled us faster and got us through these ceilings, should I say, than others, right? And they involve sales, but some it's an individual and some is the group. From a manager or an operator standpoint, from an owner standpoint, the first thing I would do is make sure that all of your sales and your numbers are transparent. If you don't know what the score is, your people cannot roll to achieve them. You have to have goals. You got to make sure you're transparent with all of your numbers. You got to go over your numbers in every meeting. Part of your regular agenda, whether it's a huddle or a weekly meeting, are numbers. Don't hide from the numbers. Don't hide from individuals that aren't succeeding with the numbers. Celebrate the people that are having wins, but at the same time, make it known that it's okay to not have a good week. It's okay not to have a good month, but collectively, it's not okay as a team to not be achieving those numbers. So if you're not transparent with your numbers and you're holding them dear to you and you're hiding them from your employees, that's probably holding you back more than it is helping you. Get transparent, even if it's just surface numbers. You don't have to get into P&Ls and bottom line numbers, but just sales numbers, goals. I want to sell 20 of these this month. I want to do $10,000 worth of this month. I want my conversion to be, if you go to 10 calls, 50%. I want 5 things sold. Just real straightforward numbers that everyone can understand and that make that transparent in every meeting. But from a coaching to your individuals that are in the field or on the phone.
Let's stop for just a second. I heard they're going to sell like a number of a thing, right? Like correct. 10 lawn care customers, I don't know, or 10
Yeah.
fertilizations or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're also going to set a dollar amount for that goal of how much they're going to sell. And then they're going to keep an eye on their conversion rate. Is that
Right.
like top 3 sales KPIs, or do you have any others?
For basics, if you're under 5 million, I would start with things like that. Now keep in mind, you have a revenue goal for a department or a team. That may be just your gross revenue for that team. But within that, what are you trying to promote? What are you trying to add on that you're not getting right now, right? If it's lawn service and you're not getting aerations done, or only 20% of your customers are buying an aeration, or if you're doing a windows or siding, what is your add-on that you're not getting? Is there a service like a protection plan or something that's you're not actually getting with that? If it's a cleaning service, if there's a deodorizer that you can upsell to to shampoo the carpets with. I don't know the different businesses. What I do know is that everyone's got 1 or 2 things that they'd like to do more of, and they don't do a lot of it. So measure that one independently. That's your goal to add on to what you're already there. Everyone's there. Your shampoo company, you're going to go there and you're going to sell cleaning something. That's why you're in the house. If you're landscaping, you're going to sell something that involves landscaping. But there's always something more that maybe your company does that you're not getting enough of. So measure that separately. Take 2 or 3 items and measure that separately. As a company, we're going to get better at this. We're going to achieve this. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to share our wins and our stories. And if someone did 4 last week, how did you do it? Make it part of your culture, right? And then you have your number for your department. We want to do 10,000 this week. Our weekly goal is 10,000. Where are we coming in? Who's going to achieve that? Well, how are we going to do it? This week we're at 7,500. Who's going to give me 2,000 this week? You're going to do it. Okay, great. You create that culture of achieving the goal that you have. And then, of course, you get into your conversion KPIs, which is more of a management tool, but same thing. We expect everyone in this room to be at 50%. We're paying X amount for these leads. Be transparent. It costs us $160 per customer to bring them in. We really need, to convert about 50% to be able to pay this, cover the overhead. Be okay with that. That's just, we're running a business here, and it's okay for your employees to know that there's costs involved to run that business and what their role is in doing that. Whether it's saving money or making money, everyone's got a role, right? You're either saving money, making money, or you're enhancing an experience. If you're not doing one of those 3, you have no business being in the business, right? So if you're in a role that's in call center, your job is to help save me money, make it easy for my customer to book, increase your booking rate, make sure that we got the right technician going to the job. If you're a technician, your job is a service, make the sale, bring in the frontline revenue. If you're in my warehouse and you're pulling parts, make it efficient to make sure all my techs have the right parts when they go out, or we have the right materials the first time. Every one of the business should be making money, saving money, or enhancing a customer experience. And you have, maybe your marketing is you have someone in there that's just working on your experience and making it a better company and a more fun place to work and a better place for your customers.
Okay, you have to pause. Like, you have to breathe. That is so good. And I am the note taker and I cannot type that fast. I type fast, but that is a lot. Okay. Wow. I feel like that was a million gold nuggets just in a short amount of time. Now let's pause. That was so good. And Martha is literally drooling. I can see her. You've said culture and there's so much joy coming from Martha. Okay, let's pause where we were and let's go into your do's and don'ts of sales. You said there are more don'ts than do's.
Yes.
And I want to get this down. And Michelle's going to give me the hook and
So it's huge in sales. So I'll talk about the do's. You absolutely have to make your services affordable, and Megan, that was a major component of what I spoke about down in Phoenix. You got to make your services affordable, and don't get left behind, and follow the lead of other service providers that are before you. If you want to increase your average ticket, if you want more add-on sales, if you want these young people that we're recruiting and training to go out there and be able to perform, we've got to give them a platform under which they can make the services that you provide more affordable to the customer. Breaking it down in payments. I mean, let's face it, even Starbucks will break down what coffee costs per day, how many pennies per day. And that's only something you're talking about that costs a few bucks. But why in the services, when we're selling things for hundreds and even thousands, do we not do that? Why do more service companies not do that than do that, right? You got to ask yourself, and that's because we get caught up in our own minds. You've got to make your services affordable. If you haven't partnered up with a third-party finance company to be able to say, hey, Mr. Customer, we can go and do this, 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 and this, and I'd love for you to do that. And you don't have to make any payment with me today. And quite frankly, you don't have to pay it off for a year. And if you pay it off within a year, there's no interest. Would you like to go and get started? You give your people tools like that to use no interest for a year, or a low 799 fixed rate, or a 18 months, or a no payment which is a great no payment, no interest for 12 months, which is, they don't even have to make a single payment. There's so many different options out there. And as a service provider, in HVAC 20 years ago, there was less than 5% participation in utilizing financing in any form. We're still not well beyond around 60, 65%. And this is 20 years later. We still have so many old school thinkers that have not come into the times. You've got to make your services affordable. Accepting cash and credit card are not the only two forms of payment. You've got to get out of that, and you've got to train your people to be able to utilize. Don't sell out of your own pockets. It's not what I always say. Just because you wouldn't finance a $400 a repair doesn't mean someone else was waiting with $400 cash to spend it on this. And even if they had it, what makes you think they want to spend it on something that doesn't taste good or doesn't make them look good when they're driving down the road, right? Or in a form of entertainment. A lot of what we sell isn't glamorous and it isn't fun, and hence we have to make it more affordable for our customers. People buy what they want with cash. People buy what they need with cash. You need something, you've got to do it. But you buy what you want with payments, right? If you want something like a car, you'll buy a better car if you make it affordable. You can still get from A to B, but you might pay 3 times more just to have a better car because it's affordable to you. It's no different in our service world. They'll buy more add-ons and they'll buy more services that maybe they don't need right away, but they want those things. They want the whole upstairs cleaned while they do the downstairs. They want the deck to be power washed if you're going to go ahead and power wash the outside. They want that extra filament that you put on the window that will sustain it and make it last longer without dusting up or what have you. They want all these things, but you got to make it affordable. So I would say that would be your number one, is to make your services affordable. Number 2 is to make all your numbers transparent, within the company. And number 3 really is to have some form of a sales process. And that may not be, where it's so good that you have to go out and buy it or recruit someone to develop it for you. It's just to have a process of some sort. What you do as you're scaling from 1 million to 2 million to 3 million is you have more and more people out there doing what you do, and they're all doing it differently. And when you do things differently in so many ways, your results will vary and your consistency will fail. So identify what you do well in your company and what your top people do well, and try to bring that and put the personality aside. What are they doing structurally? And try to put that down in writing somehow, so that you're training on the structure in which, when they get there, do they wear their booties? Do they walk up the driveway? Where do they park? How do they greet the customer when they open the door? Do they go straight to the basement? Do they go to the dining table? Do they engage with all the people in the home? What are they doing to be successful? Write those things down and poll the people that you have, even if it's 2 or 3 people, and try to structure a process to which, here's what we do, and you just make it better and better, and as you grow, it scales.
Okay, so Michelle might have a secret if I don't pass you now, but Michelle, you have to promise to ask him for a sales script. I think we could have Darius sell us live in like 10 seconds. And I really want to hear that. And you did not give your trick about the hundreds and the thousands and what you say and how you say.
Part of making it affordable. So you want me to hit on that real quick?
Please.
And then we're gonna pass it to Michelle. And Martha's like, I can't keep up. It's early. I told you guys.
So one of the things that I learned very young is to use certain verbiage in a home. And if you don't use the right verbiage, some people make things look real easy when they're in a house, and you try it and you don't get the same results. It's because it's not so much the statement you're making as much as how you're saying it and the way, your mannerisms, and of course the verbiage that you use. One of the things I learned and I trained throughout my company is to never use the words hundreds, thousands, certainly, not 10,000, 15,000 or anything like that. Those words need to come out completely out of your vocabulary. We have shifted since, and it doesn't matter if you're selling something that costs $260, or let's say 265, right? Don't just say 265. It's 192. It's 427. So by breaking it into 2 segments, single or double digit, never more than 2 digits, you're actually making the number smaller on that first millisecond of an interpretation of the price of your product. So when I say, Mrs. Johnson, option A is going to be 400, option B is 700, and option C is 1100 or 1100. Oh my goodness. You've already lost me at the 4, 7 is way too much. And now you're saying 1100. Hold on, stop. Let me think about what's going on here. Let me think if I can afford this, because I wasn't expecting to spend that kind of money today. The average service call in our business, our customers only expecting to spend, on a survey that was done several years ago, somewhere between $240 and $270 on the high side, $240 to $270. If the first thing out of my mouth is 427, I'm already beyond that ceiling of average thought process of what my service should cost me today. To go beyond that, I've lost it. So if it's 10,723, we forget the 23. We just say it's 10.7. Everyone knows what you're saying. When you buy a car and they say 42.6, they aren't saying $42.60. It's $42,600. But they say 42.6 because 42.6 is a much smaller number. But this is the real trick. It's the people that we're asking to go to the front line to provide these services to our customers. A lot of them haven't even bought services in the price range in which we are charging. They need an easier way to present pricing so their confidence relays through their price. It's not just, it's their mannerisms. I can tell you it's only 42.6, much easier than I tell you it's 42,600, right? I'm scared. I'm scared of my own price. So, but to walk in and say, I can get that done over there for 196, that's 196. Oh, that's only going to be an extra 210. Oh yeah, we can do that, and that. It's only going to be 740, right? And so they break it down to 1 and 2 digits. You teach that through your company, results go up immediately because they can present on it much easier. It's the customer receives it better, but more importantly, the person pitching the pricing, no matter what it is, it makes it easier to come off their lips and with confidence. So you practice that in your company because we're all doing it now. And we're out there, that's going to be $496. Whoa, 496, that's a lot of money, versus it's only going to be 496. And guess what? When you say only in front of it, it's easier to say only 496. It's hard to say only 496. That number is that long, right?
Yeah, so you're right.
It's small details, but it changes everything. Believe me, your conversion will go up 10 points just by offering it on pay. If you adopt payments and you sell on utilizing single and double digits and forgetting the words hundreds and thousands. I mean, I can't even imagine going out there and saying this system costs $15,700. You're insane.
He's not lying. And as every listener out there, you're welcome, because the next time you say 100, you will cringe. And this happened to me for 3 months. It is so hard to get it out of my system.
Well, Megan, and I'll close this off with this. Do you really want the person selling you something to use hundreds and thousands? And I don't know if I use this example in Phoenix, but I had a deck being, getting an estimate on a deck for my house. And the guy was naive, and he's definitely not very well versed in sales. But he stood on my deck and he goes, "Well, Mr. Lyvers, that's going to be 14,710." And he fed right into me. I said, 14,710. The only time you want to hear that is in the opposite side. I rolled it right back to him, and it made him scared. He's like, "Is that too much?" Yeah, it's too much. Anyway, I ended up getting the deck for under 10 grand. But the bottom line is that he did the mistake that I cringe that my people do, because when you say it's going to be 972 or 9,000 and whatever, depending on what you're selling, you're giving the customer, number one, you're inflating your own price, but then you're giving the customer a tool to use against you, saying that's too high, right? But they can't say it's too high when you say only 142 or only 610. I said only 610. Now, granted, some will still say that. But you're playing the numbers, right? The numbers game of making it more affordable, more people, you'll gain more traction, you'll gain more sales.
I'm smiling. That was great. Okay, Michelle.
I'm dying over here.
Let's do it.
Okay, so one quick clarification. If your pricing is like 11,000, how would you say that? 11,210? Would you just leave the thousands all the way up?
Because who cares about $10 when you're talking about 11,200?
Yeah.
And
so it's 11,200.
You talk about 11,200, and the bottom line is that they know you're talking 11,200. You're talking about something really big, right? They know it's not $11. What could 11,200 be? It's like you're on the lot once again with the car, and they say it's 12,700. That's 12,700. We all know this. It's built in because it's been there. We just never really paid any attention to it. Right.
I'm obsessed. Okay. Sales scripts. Do you have anything? Because I would imagine that you get a good amount of traffic in on the phone, right? I'm on your website now, so I can see your booking online. You have a chat application and you have a phone number. So you have 3 ways for your customer to reach you. I'm assuming then you add social media and all those things, right? So there's tons of traffic coming in. Tell me what the average phone call kind of sounds like or feels like. And then how many people does it take to run that big of a business? How many actual individuals are in the seat? Is there a magic number, like this many million to this many individuals? Because I think people are always wondering that as they start to scale.
Yeah.
How many people should I actually have in my office? How can they actually get it done? So those two questions, let's start there, please.
Yeah. So you can do it by revenue, but it's easier to do it by field personnel, right? So
Yeah.
we have one CSR agent for every 8 to 10 field personnel.
Got it. Okay.
So if you're dispatching, not necessarily, and sometimes your call center and dispatch, so you got to kind of separate that if your call center is your dispatch. But certainly, if you're booking for one person, one technician, so in essence you're booking 3 to 5 calls depending on your service per day, maybe. So if you have 10 people, that would be 30 to 50 calls that you're responsible for booking, and an agent can handle that load. So for us in our industry, if you look at 8 to 10 field personnel, one CSR agent. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's how we do it. With dispatch, the ratio is a little higher because we're separating it. We can get away with 14, 15 technicians per dispatcher with a good dispatcher, right? To be able to handle it, because all the leads are already laid. Now it's just a matter of making sure you get the right text to the right call and doing that. In terms of scripting for the phones, it's not my strength. I haven't physically answered the phones in a long time, so I don't want to pretend like I can do it as well as the people in my call center. But we certainly have a script that takes them through, and we do use the platform. We've customized it, but through Nexstar, which is our Better Business Practice group, or our training group within our industry. But it really is the same no matter which industry you go to, or there's similarities there. Where you go through your steps, with your greet, and then obviously they take them through. But there is a section in there which I will say, which introduces them into our services and asks for them to get on a service agreement. And for you in landscaping or pest control, I know service agreements are huge, to get on residual recurring revenue streams. I encourage anyone in any business to figure out how you can get on a recurring stream, even if it's washing windows or power washing the house. There's a way to get in a recurring revenue stream. You just got to make it affordable once again, break it down into monthly payments, and make it easy for the customer to get on it, right? So you do that, and even if it's $399 a year, you break that down into 12 months, whatever it's $27.90 a month or whatever it comes out to be. But I don't want to digress. But we do have a process under which all our CSRs go through. At our company, we've got about give or take between 28 and 32 just strictly CSR agents. But as we are moving more to online booking, which is good, but you still have some process there. We do have an outbound team now that takes on all of the chat, takes on all of the scheduling that comes through our website, through Schedule Engine is the platform that we use through our website to book those calls. We have seen an increase, so we're up to almost 20+% of our calls are booked through online booking. But we're late to the party, and I'm not proud of it. We were using an antiquated system there, not very user friendly. Didn't really give them a variety of options to make it easy for them to book a time slot. But we have since fixed that, and it is growing week over week now, and I can see where this is heading. And my goal is to get to 50% plus online booking in the next 24 months.
Yeah, because it really does let the customer sort of pick their own adventure, right? It lets them decide when you're going to arrive, when you're going to be there to do services, and it fits within their lifestyle. You'll probably see an increase in sales too, because that customer has chosen that date and time, and it's on their calendar, and they're focused on that, tech arriving.
Nobody wants to talk to anybody anymore.
Exactly. Well, the queen of people down here, Martha, is our best one that loves to not talk to people. She's convinced that if she has to pick up the phone and talk to somebody, it's no bueno. She wants to do business all online. So do I. So I totally get it. Let's go through service plans, because you mentioned that, and I have a lot of listeners that are a little bit resistant to that. I was at someone's house yesterday, big house, lots of windows. And she said, I have to get my windows cleaned all the time, and I have no one that'll want to come because it's such a huge job. It takes 2 or 3 times to get it all done. And so I said, I wonder if there's somebody in our area that could do a service plan and just quarterly, take a side of her house, right? Because it's so big. So tell me about your service plans, because on the website, there's a few different options. Kind of break down what you sell currently so people can understand.
Okay, so we sell, so you talk about cross-marketing and getting into other services. For almost 20 years, all we sold was a heating and air conditioning, a fall inspection, a spring inspection, or a heating or a cooling, however you want to look at it. It was just for heating and air conditioning.
Sure.
And then we're like, well, this is just 6 years ago. We incorporated plumbing and electrical into our service plan, meaning we'll do an electrical inspection. Everyone wants to make sure their electrical is safe in their house. Go around, check their smoke detectors, check their panel, etc. And then a plumbing inspection. Well, let me tell you, you throw in any add-on services onto your agreement, and you're talking about for pennies on the dollar. Really, it's free marketing because you already got the agreements anyway, and you're getting them for what you're doing. And you just cross-market inspections and all the downtimes and everything else. Unbelievable growth, right? So 35% of our revenue comes from proactive sales on inspections, right? So we're not even there for a service call. We're not there because they call us to do anything. We're there doing our routine checkup, and 35% of our 92 million comes in from proactive purchases on non-phone calls. So whether you're, and that would go the same for anyone's business if you get on a recurring. So you have annuals and you have recurring where you have to renew each year on an annual, or you go recurring either monthly or annual where you automatically charge that credit card or the bank monthly or annually, depending on how you want to go to market. I strongly suggest you go on recurring because the cost of renewal and the retention rate is so much better on a recurring. It's like a gym membership. You might be paying for 7 years and you've gone 4 times.
Yeah.
That's me, right? That's me. And I won't cancel it because I might start next month, and canceling it tells me I'm a loser and I'm not going to get in shape. So I'm just going to stay on that, right? So get on the recurring bandwagon of making it affordable. We charge $13.95 a month. $13.95 a month, right? You can say 14, doesn't matter. $13, $14. You can use the word $14. In that case, it's only 2 digits, right? So a month, get them on a recurring plan. There's all kinds of platforms for you to process that through PayPal or what have you, where you can get them on recurring. It's not complicated. Make a few phone calls. They'll set it up so you just load the credit card number and then set in the parameters, and every month it gets charged, and you just have someone administrate that. It's basically self-sufficient. So we do recurring. We have 24,200 members, but we actually cover 28,000 plus systems because some people have 2 units in a house, systems in a house. If anyone's out there, whether you're doing pest control, I would get them on. I'm on recurring now with my pest control at my house, right? I pay $80-something quarterly, $90, something like that quarterly, I think it is. I don't even know what it exactly is because it was years ago, and I'm just on a recurring agreement. To my point, if I waited around for ants to show up every year, and what if they didn't show up this year? I would never schedule it pest control. But whether I have ants or not, I don't know if it works or not, but I know my wife's not, complaining about insects all around the house, and that's worth every penny for $90 every quarter, right?
I love that. I love that.
So get on that agreement. But to your point, the house with the windows, absolutely. If it's bigger than you can handle in one bite, break it into 4 small bites. Charge them a monthly fee, have it on an annual, and I'm going to come out every month and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and that includes this, and then charge them, I don't know, $800 a year. I don't know what that stuff costs. I'm just saying I would go in there with a monthly payment. Say it's a low payment of $42.60, right?
Yeah.
That customer will pay it, right?
Darius, you're killing me. This is such good systemizing thinking, right? Systemization thinking, because you're seeing the pain point in the customer and you're just applying a system to it, right? And to make it easier. So I love it. It pushes all the buttons. It really does. Thank you so much. And we kind of hit on people just a little bit because people make it all happen. And I'm going to pass you over to Martha. She's going to talk to you about your people. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Darius. Yeah, I was listening going, oh my gosh, I love scoreboards. Oh my gosh, I love this. Yeah. But okay, so let's talk about, because I know this is a pretty common problem for a lot of industries where you have a salesperson, or that's your, if you're smaller, that your salesperson is probably your office manager or whatever. But let's say that you do have a scoreboard and you are saying, okay, we need to hit these numbers, blah, 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 blah. And then they're not hitting the numbers. What's your process with when you get a salesperson in and they're not hitting the sales numbers? Does something happen like that first time, or I'd be interested to know, because sales, in my mind, what if you don't have the leads? What if it's a down week or whatever? So how do you watch and make sure that system works?
Okay, so number one, I'm not a big proponent for having sales guys that are also prospecting, meaning if you try to get sales guys to drive leads, it will fail more often than it will win. And you're
Yep.
really taking away from focus on, I'm going to give you this opportunity that I'm paying for, and you better do something with it, right? So a sales guy's sole purpose is to convert, right? Now, granted, they're not converting, they're not doing very well, or they're underperforming.
Yeah.
Then you've got to peel that back and try to figure out why. Is it the sales guy? Meaning, is it he's got something going on in his life and he's distracted? Is he complacent? You'll have that where they have a good couple of weeks, they get all their bills paid, all of a sudden they become slugs because they've hit a threshold of complacency because they've got their bills paid. So there's a lot of different reasons why a person doesn't perform, but sometimes it's not a role fit for that person, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not motivated by money, if you're not motivated by having a better way of life, if you're not motivated by sending your kids to and paying for their college, if you're not motivated by taking vacations and enjoying yourself, you're just you're happy just living, staying home, doing nothing, spending nothing. That's probably not a good sales guy. They often don't make good salespeople. Often there's an exception to that rule, but they're far and few. But the guy with the lifestyle where he likes to have fun, goes out on weekends, likes to travel. Typically, he's got a lifestyle he's got to feed, and he's got to get out there and get hungry, and he's got to produce. Right? He's got to stay engaged. So to answer your question, we do have metrics for every revenue generating position has to have metrics, right? You got to measure them by something. A minimum requirement to sustain your existence at this company, right? You have a role to play, and if you're not playing your role, what good are you to me, right? Yeah. If your role is sales, you have to bring in sales. If your role is service technician, you've got to service our customers. Right. If your role is a call center rep, you got to answer my phone and book my calls. So everyone's got a certain a requirement of what they need to be doing. Coach on the things that you think are happening. Obviously, you got to have those one-on-ones and sit down and figure out what's going on. But ultimately, week over week, someone's not producing, or month over month, you got to switch roles or and you got to move along. I mean, I hate to be that person, but that doesn't. It's hurting your business to take leads you're paying for and not convert them. You're hurting everybody in your company, and that's the philosophy that you have to come up with. Is you can't have everyone in your company carrying someone else's luggage, right? You can't get up the hill. So everyone's got to carry their own backpack. And sometimes if you're really good, you can carry two backpacks. It doesn't mean that someone else doesn't need to carry their own. It just means you're better than the average. And everyone has that role of accountability. So when we establish our core values, when we hire to our core values, when we talk about that, we have that discussion when you're coming in, that you have a responsibility here at Furr. And if you're coming in this role, this is your responsibility. Here's how you're going to be measured. And if you can't do this, unfortunately, we're going to have to part ways because you cannot become somebody else's problem, right? I can't have this guy required to sell twice as much because you can't sell the leads that you're running. So now he has to double his conversion to make up and pay for the marketing costs of the leads that you're throwing away. It just doesn't work that way. It's not fair to my people. It's not fair to everybody else. And everyone knows who these people are, believe me. They know who's dragging us down. They know who's holding us back. And you've got to get to a point where in your company culture, you're not holding on to that because it's doing more detriment than good, even if they're really good at what they do. That goes for your personality and certainly how you go about in either you're an ambassador for the company. It's okay to be neutral. It's never okay to be a naysayer and a pessimist and a negative Nancy. It's not okay. Right. So we hire for that, and we spell out our core values. We make sure we drill them. And if you're not part of those core values, don't even take the job. We have no desire of employing you here at this company, even for a position that's been open and vacant for 6 months. I still will not take, and I will say that time and time, I will not take someone that is not part of our core values coming in. You don't always know, but coming in, you get the vibe. Certainly, if you do good referral calls and you do a roundabout way, I usually on a high level positions, I take those people out and get to know them out of the business, so I can really see what their personality is like. But core values is key. If you haven't defined them in your company, define them, because if you don't define them, you don't know who you're hiring and why you're hiring them, except for performance, and that's not the only thing that's important, right? You've got to find good cultural fit employees, and you've got to define what that is. And most business owners don't know what that is.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely have questions. So, when you're hiring somebody for sales, do you put them through any kind of personality assessment or anything like that?
Absolutely. Nobody gets hired here in sales unless you go through a Wonderlic assessment, which is tests you for three things: your cognitive ability, how smart you are, your personality, and your motivation. What motivates you? Is it structure? Is it money? Is it enterprising? Is it being creative and doing things with your hands? A Wonderlic is what the NFL uses for their players. That's what I've been told anyway. But it's not an end all be all. But you have your employees take now, not your existing employees, because now they already know what you're looking for, so they might answer the questions differently. But a Wonderlic is an amazing tool. It tells you, number one, if someone can think through structure and process. Are they critical thinker? So if you have a role that requires critical thinking and them doing things on their own and they score low on cognitive, your chances are not good that they're going to find success there. There's exceptions, but you're rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice. If someone's not motivated by enterprising, by money, putting them in sales is going to be tough, because what's motivating them every day? But you can still do good in sales if your motivation isn't money, but just you want to win. Because I've had that where I've got someone who could care less about money and doesn't even care about spending money or having anything nice. He just wants to win. No matter what, he wants to win. And that's okay. That's a great motivating factor. I wake up every morning and I'm going to kick some ass, right? That's a winner to me. It doesn't matter what. So that's a win. So you have other people that are motivated or not motivated by numbers. That it'll tell you right there. You can't put them in an accounting role or a role that requires KPIs and numbers. They don't like numbers. It bores them and they don't get it, right? They don't get how that comes together. So a Wonderlic is what we use, and I preach, and I will never stop doing this. I'm telling you, from the day until the day I leave this company, I became a trainer on color code, which is like disc profiling, and there's several others on personality assessments, right? So everyone takes a Wonderlic. Sorry, not a Wonderlic. They do the Wonderlic, but they also do a color code assessment, which puts you in one of four color ranges, tells me how you like to be communicated with, tells me what your strengths are, whether you're more likely to be extroverted, introverted, whether you're most likely to be rational or a critical thinker, or more of a imaginary person. It tells me if you like to be dealt with straightforward, or if you take things very personally and sensitive. It tells me all of that, and it hits you. It is 95% accurate. I don't care what anyone says. I've trained over 400 or 500 people. The whole company, every employee goes through my training. I went out and got certified because I watched this at a conference. I was like, holy crap, this thing figured me out. It's telling me why I'm effed up. It's telling me why I think the way I do and why I'm crazy the way I'm crazy. This is awesome, right? So then I got to figure out like what I need to work on, what I need to stop doing, but more importantly, how to build better relationships with the people around me by understanding how they want to be communicated with, right? So I learned that I know that she's a white, not a white person, but a white color code. He's a blue. She's a red. I know already. I can go to a red and say, I need this done. I need it by tomorrow. Can you get to me by 2:00? Yes, thank you. And I'm out. But you do that to a blue, holy freak, how disrespectful. What about my time? Why would he speak to me like that? He doesn't have it. So I know all the colors. Everyone knows everyone's colors. We post them in the whole company, right? Everyone knows everyone's colors. They go through the training. So if you address a blue that way and they're sensitive and you know that and you're going in there directly, shame on you. You knew that and you communicated not how they want to be communicated with, but how you wanted to communicate it. And that's not building good relationships, right? So we do that through the whole company. Everyone goes through that training. I host like 1 to 2 color code trainings per month, depending on how many new employees we have. And I do that personally. So absolutely love it. I'd love to do it for you all. You bring me in there. I'll do a color code and you'll see the light. It's amazing stuff.
Okay, can we pause for the note taker? What was the first thing?
Wonderlic.
Like L-I-C-K? Wonder.
Yeah, Wonder and then Lick, L-I-C.
L-I-C, yep.
Right, and then color code.
Color code. Wonderlic hiring, it's an amazing tool. I'm not saying don't hire someone because they didn't score really well, but at least you know what to peel back to ask about that section so that you can get a better feel for whether or not, paper isn't everything, but it surely is a guideline. And when someone scores a 10 cognitive, it's hard to do. It means you can't see pattern. You can't register critical thinking. And trust me, when you have that employee that you're trying to give projects to and nothing ever gets done and it doesn't get done the way you want it, chances are it's because they don't have the ability. And I don't care how hard you try, you can't fix cognitive issues. I won't use the other word that I want to use because it's disrespectful, but you can't fix things. Confidence is one of them, to say it nicely. right?
That's great. That's great.
Wow.
When you were talking about accountability and people, that like your salespeople were letting down your field technicians if they didn't hit certain numbers. We ran monthly all hands on deck staff meetings, and I would have to report the number of leads that I brought in. And granted, I might hire these things out, but the leads that we brought in for clients, and then also applicants. And then my office manager, she had to report their sales conversion numbers. And then and the staff, the field staff, knew what our minimums were. And then they were responsible for the client satisfaction score. So everybody had a score to hit. And it was good for me because I'm telling you, even though, yeah, I was getting more if I hit my numbers, but for me to have to stand up and say, okay, guys, I would scramble those last few days just so I
Sure.
could, I did it. And then, I'd be like, what about you,
But you
but
don't want to be that person.
yeah,
Nobody wants to be that person. And if you're okay being that person, you need to move along.
yeah,
If you're okay being last week in and week out, or about bottom 10%, guess what? Right? The cream rises to the top. And realistically, you can't have someone that's okay with being mediocre.
yeah.
It's not okay. And it shouldn't be
Right.
okay for anybody.
Yeah. So Scoreboard, we heard a little bit about what you do for sales. Do you have a scoreboard for your field technicians?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So so part of our agenda for all field technicians come in once a week,
Okay.
and they have an all meeting for that team, and all their numbers are projected for the team. And it's not to make the loser feel like a loser, but inevitably you're going to feel what you feel. You're at the bottom of the list. I can't just cut the list in half and say it's okay. We're not running a participation scenario here. So if you happen to be at the bottom, I'm sorry, but do something about it.
Right.
I'm not going to point it out and say, hey, yo, in front of your peers, you're doing terrible. They already feel terrible. You don't need to do that. But the reality is that we all play a role with our team, and we are a team. And there are some people that are going to be doing better than others at all times. And it is important that the people that are helping us, if I'm having a down week, I hope my teammates carry the team and do well, even though I'm a little bit resentful because, they're making me look back and they're doing so well. At the same time, they're helping keep the lights on. They're helping families have work to do so they can pay their bills. They're helping our call center reps have people to speak with and creating jobs, right? So ultimately, I got to think about it like that. And as a culture, yes, he's doing well, and I want to kick his ass, but and I want to be competitive. But thank goodness, because he's helping get an install, and these 3 installers have a job today, so they can make a living, so they can pay their bills. And my warehouse has a job to pull something off the floor, so they can get that to them. And oftentimes we miss that point, right?
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to each other, and we have to live up to that. And when we're not, it's not just about ourselves and our own families; it's everybody else's. People, the people around me and their families, right? We have to take care of each other. And so if someone's having a down week, hey, no problem. I got this. But, next week, put in a little extra effort. Let's get it going. Now, if you're that guy that's always dragging us down, let's be real. That is just someone that is probably going to be the wheelbarrow you're trying to push up that hill all the time. And that's just not fair to anybody to have to push that wheelbarrow.
Right. Yeah. And I'm a big believer in showing everything. And I talk to a lot of people and they're like, well, you don't show the bad. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to show everything. And the way I look at it is, so that person, if they're not performing at the level that other people are, they have a choice.
What are you doing about it?
Yeah, they get to decide.
Or you want to ride along? Like, that's what I say. Well, it's not fair. What have you done about it? Are you taking any online classes? Have you come to me to ask me that you would like this to assist you? Are you asking to ride along with those producers, and are they turning you down? Right? No. Yeah. If you want to ride along if you want to be the best, you got to learn from the best. You're not even starting to learn from the best because you're so into yourself and what you're doing you're refusing to let your, put your arrogance down and your ego down and learn something. How often do you find that the person struggling the most volunteers to go and ride with the person that's doing the best? It's very rare. It's extremely rare. And it's rare because of ego. So as a leader, you gotta put and say, listen, ego's out the door. We're all in it to win it. We win together or we lose together. It's we're all together as one team. If you got someone that's doing something better than you, don't just pawn it off that they get better leads and they're getting better fed. They're better than you, man. Get with the program, right? On a field of play, on any football game, there are people, there's a hierarchy of talents, right? And they can measure that. It's not, salespeople's no different. Yeah, you might have a little luck here, a little bad luck there, but all in all, your skills are your skills. And the only way to get better is to reach out and learn from the people that do it better than you. And I encourage anyone that's listening, you got someone that's struggling, challenge them to go learn with someone that does it better.
Right.
And see how they react to that. And that's how you know if they really want to learn or if they're just bitching, right? About or whining about it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the perfect segue to homework.
Perfect. It is. It totally is.
Oh, okay. So Darius, you can give homework at the end if you want. You don't have to, but what makes us different than most podcasts is we don't want you to just be a learner. We want you to be a doer. We want you to execute on the information. If you're sitting there feeling pumped up and inspired by what you just learned today, we want you to do something about it. Do one thing. So usually there's 4 areas of business that we cover on a given week. We offer 4 to 5 different homework assignments. We only want you to do one. Do not do all 4. Do not do all 5. That's impossible. You're setting yourself up to fail. If you do one a week, you will move the needle forward in your business and it will make listening to this podcast worth your while. So we're going to challenge you based on what we heard today, what we think would be a good homework assignment, and you're going to choose one and actually do it before next week's episode. That's the goal. All right, Michelle, you want to give some marketing homework?
Yes, for marketing, I absolutely love your idea of inserting the customer into your marketing. So I heard you just ask people to either sing the jingle, do a video, do a screenshot, do a picture of their kids with the cookies, something. And so I'm going to encourage every business owner to just ask that question as you close the job out after they've paid. Just ask, say, hey, if you had a great experience with our company, which I see that you did, send us something really fun from your family. We want to include you in part of our effort to reach more people in the community. So asking the question, I think, is probably the hardest part. And I'm going to encourage every business owner to do that. Start asking for that feedback and that essentially marketing information back so that you can share it with the rest of your potential customers. So that's my marketing homework for Tay. Ask.
Okay, and mine just got super complicated in my head, so I hope it comes out better in words than it is going in my brain. But I would like to show you the numbers and the power of being good at sales. So most of the people listening to the show know what their average ticket is. I hope you know what your average ticket is. And most of the people listening to the show know what their current conversion rate is. I would like you to do some math on if you were to increase your conversion rate by, I heard 10%. That's what I heard today. If you increase your conversion rate by 10%, how many more dollars is that going into the business every single day, week, month, year? I think that's a huge number, 10%. It's very achievable. And we learned today that all you have to do is stop saying hundreds and thousands. Speak in very simple two-part words. And you can really add a lot to your pocketbook. So why I want you to do the math is because I think math's the path and it will inspire you because money is really fun as an owner to see how you can make more money. So a 10% increase in your conversion rate by just refining your sales process. That is your finance homework this week.
Ooh. And your systems homework this week is to look at recurring services in your business, no matter what business you have. I have a recurring service in Pink Collars. We provide office help and CSRs remotely for people. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but I do that. And I'm thinking already of some of the additional things we could be adding. I had one of our team members make this incredible marketing document for one of our clients the other day. I was blown away. She just came up with it. So I'm going to think about that. And I want every other business owner to think about how can you add something really awesome from a team member or something that's emerging as a pain point with your clients and add that as a recurring service and put those people on autopilot and cha-ching, get their money every month as a recurring revenue stream. So that's your systems homework this week.
All right. And your people homework is going to be what scoreboards do you have? So you really should have a scoreboard for the management team. Most of our listeners, management / sales, are together. So I'm going to say management team. If you have a sales team, that's awesome. They should have separate metrics. And then what's your scoreboard for your field staff? And anyway, just whatever the scoreboard is, they have to be able to see it every day and know exactly where they're at every day.
I love that.
Darius, do you have any?
Oh, so mine would be a multi-step, but I think the defining your core values is basically embodies where you want to go and who you hire and be able to rate the people you have. So I would say meet with your team, and if it's if you have 4 managers, 3 managers, whatever it is, your management team, sit down in a room and just for this week list out 30, 40 things as people shout it out and put it on a whiteboard or what have you, of things that should embody your core values, where it's being eager to learn, which is one of ours, or owning your zone, which is also one of ours, right? Or further together, which is teamwork, is another one of ours. So whatever it is, what do you want? What would you love for all of your people to represent in your company, and have your people make that decision? Just throw up 30, 40 ideas so you have a start of what you, and then obviously you'll narrow that down in the weeks to come as subsequent meetings until you get to 3, 4, or 5 that you can work with. And identify that, because once you do, it makes a big difference for everyone to know what they're supposed to embody at your company. And as you grow and scale, it's going to be more and more important for you going to that next level. So just something I think we start working on.
Mm-hmm. Super
So
good. Super good. Well, awesome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We always end the episode with a quote. So I found one while we were talking, Darius, and it is, care enough to create value for your customers. If you get that part right, then selling is easy. By Anthony Iannarino. That last name is crazy. But I love the part that it says selling is easy. And I hope that covers everything for today. Thank you all for joining us. And Darius, I'm going to be looking for your trucks and singing the jingle. The entire rest of the week.
You can always visit us too, right? I mean, we're here.
I know. I need to get in the car.
I want to come visit both of you.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. I'll come with you. I'll come with you.
Definitely.
I love
it. If our listeners want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
LinkedIn, which is the only purpose for my LinkedIn. I don't keep it updated, but it's just a way to get hold of me.
Okay.
And that's going to be the easiest. Email through LinkedIn is the best.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Perfect. And friendly reminder to our listeners, we have Rockstar Admin Training coming up March 9th through 11th in Nashville, Tennessee. If you are interested in elevating your CSRs to become better salespeople and better admins, please join us. The website is therockstaradmin.com.
Yep, we'll put it in the comments. Yeah,
that's not a jingle. We'll work on it. Okay.
If you need a jingle, exactly. Thanks so much, everybody, and have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.